Hi, this is David Kettlewell. I'm the host of mastersofharmonica.com, and we have a very special treat for you today. We're going to be working with one of the nation's top professional jazz trumpeters and composers, Josh Rzepka. Josh, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Okay. And what we're going to do today with this is that we're going to help you and walk with you through your first steps in jazz. I know you have a lot of very basic questions about what is jazz, how do you get started? Well, that's what we're going to be doing today. So, Josh, let's get started. And my first question is, like for somebody who doesn't know anything about jazz other than that they totally love it, listening, what is jazz?
Well, to me, jazz is a communication, and it's a freedom, and it's a rhythm, and it's a groove, and it's a music that really allows you to express yourself in any way that you want. And it's uniquely American and fun.
Let me ask you this. You said the word communication. It's a communication and it's a rhythm. Well, is there something different about this communication versus just playing a set piece that you're reading in an orchestra?
Oh, there sure is, because when you're playing in an orchestra, all of your music, it's right there, and you've got to play right what's on the page. And when you're playing jazz, you get to create a lot of the music you're playing. And it's a communication just like we're having right now. We're having a conversation where you say something, I say something. That's what jazz is. The musicians, one person plays something, and then the band responds. And it moves the conversation, the musical conversation, forward, and very often in unexpected ways.
Is jazz a world of right and wrong?
Jazz is a world of right and right. It's only wrong if you think it's wrong. In jazz, really, you've got the opportunity to play anything. And as long as you really are playing what you mean to play, then, and what you're really hearing inside, then who's to tell you that's not right?
What does it mean when you say, when you're playing what you hear inside?
Well, for me as a musician, I've got ideas flowing through my mind, musical. Some of them just constantly. If I'm hearing a song, or I'm on a bandstand, or if I'm in an audience, or I've got the radio on and I hear something happening, and I'm swinging and I'm listening, and I've got this dialogue in my mind. The same as if I were listening to the radio and they were talking about the news or something, and I didn't agree with them, and I wanted to interject and call them up. And the same thing with music. So those are my musical ideas, and that's what I'm talking about, where you've got your musical ideas and then you express them with your instrument.
Okay, so let me see if I got this straight. We have this consciousness. You can close your eyes or not. And within that consciousness, we hear in our mind musical tones. I'm sure you guys can do that. You hear a piece of music, you hear it in your mind, and then you play with it. Is that what you're talking about? Is that where that music resides, is in your mind?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Then you got to get it from your mind
into the horn, or into your harmonica or your voice. Or
okay. And that's where technique comes
in.
Okay. Well, one of the questions that I've seen a lot of times from the people who visit us on the website, how do I get started in jazz? Mm-hmm. So, on behalf of everybody out there, I'm asking, how do we get started in the world of jazz?
Well, if you really want to get started in the world of jazz, the very first thing you need to do is get some jazz recordings. And you want to listen to some of them, because you need to get that feel in you need to understand the rhythms and get that feel in your ears. And then you can start playing along with the recordings that you have and the songs, and you can start improvising. And you want to start with a more basic approach, and then as you master that, you will increase your technique, and you'll increase your vocabulary, the different types of things that you can express with your instrument.
So let me see if I got it straight. Our first step into jazz is to listen to jazz. We get some CDs, maybe from the library. We go home, we play them, and we immerse ourselves completely in the sound and be part of it, and then kind of imagine, how could we shake it up?
Exactly.
Okay, okay. All right. So that's a good first step into jazz. Could you go over for me some of the other advantages of listening to jazz? What do we as musicians have to gain from listening to a lot of music, a lot of jazz?
Well, it will broaden our ideas. It will broaden our sense of musical style. So the saying goes, if you only have a hammer, everything looks like a nail, right? So if you've only ever listened to one song or one, then you think that that's all jazz is. And the more you listen to jazz, the more styles you listen to, the more musicians you listen to, then the greater toolbox you'll have.
So it's all about options and tools in the toolbox. And the toolbox is?
The toolbox is, it's really I'll say a vocabulary. It's a language. Jazz is a language, and there's many ways you can learn it. And the historical way is that it was a oral tradition, that it was learned by ear and by people coming onto the bandstand and playing with musicians that they didn't know, playing songs they didn't know, and really trial by fire and honing their craft. And when you're put in a situation like that, it really forces you to use your ears a lot, because there's no paper, there's no sheet music, there's no instructions. It's just go. And that's, in my opinion, a great way to do it, because it forces you to really pay attention, to listen to the drummer, to hear the beat, to listen to the bass player, to really get into the groove. And once you hear all the rhythms everyone's playing and the melodies everyone's playing, if you can hear it and you can hum it back or you can sing it back, you've got what they're doing. And then you can join in the conversation.
We're here with Josh Rzepka, taking our first steps into the world of jazz.